This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the DailyFX Forum.
So here are the four pairs that I will be discussing this evening: the Euro Pound, the Aussie Kiwi, the Pound Swiss, and the Euro Swiss. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. The first chart is the Euro Pound. If you recall, during the past several reports, I've highlighted a potential resistance area near the 87 figure and potential support just beneath the 84 figure. That's these two white lines. As we can see, prices are still in the middle of the range, so there would be no trade setups currently. But again, we might wait for prices to move either towards the upper resistance line or the lower support line, and prices right now in the middle, so probably another 48 to 72 hours before any of these trades do materialize. The next chart is the Aussie Kiwi, and a little this was a little tricky in terms of yesterday's candle. I mentioned during yesterday's report, initially I said that this support line should act as at least initial support. We should get a nice bounce off that line, about 100 pips or so. That's exactly what happened. However, during yesterday's report, I did mention that there was a potential for an a morning star reversal pattern, but that did not materialize. As we can see, that we had another bearish candle. We actually took out the previous lows, so that negates the potential for that pattern forming. However, prices did leave behind a long wick beneath the former support line right here, and I also mentioned that we might exit on a close beneath this line. So right now we're sort of in between here. If you're long, I would continue to stay long. If you did enter with a stop just beneath this support line, I would stay flat. But moving forward, it's really would depend on this candle here. Personally, I would not tolerate any further penetration of this lower line here, again because I'm not very confident in the line. It's a little bit flimsy. There's penetration here, a few wicks spilling over here, so the precise location of the line, while these two wicks did respect the line, to within a few pips, I just don't like this penetration here. With that being said, I would still have a tentative bullish bias against this line, and with prices above it, that's still intact. The next chart is the Pound Swiss, and that is the wrong chart. One moment here. This is the Pound Swiss, and still waiting for prices to come down and test the longer term support line. This was a double top setup here, which I mentioned that we should have exited by now. We did have a bullish candle here. Ideally, this bullish candle, let me zoom in a little bit, would have occurred after prices did touch this support line here, but that's not what happened. So I missed this trade, and I hope everybody out there missed this trade, because it does represent too much risk to enter here against this line as your basis for entry. So we just got to sit on the sidelines now, wait for another test of the longer term support line. And again, that support line, if you want to draw it at home, is formed by the late 2008 low here and the late March low here. The last chart is the Euro Swiss, and if you recall during yesterday's report, still trying to figure out exactly where to put this line. I wanted to wait for one more daily candle to close, and it actually closed like right at the line, and again, this is not very clean at all, but I would keep this line up at least for one more candle, see if we can get a move back above here. I might enter on the long side. Let's say if we have a few hourly closes back above this level here, back above this white line, and if that's not the case, again, what I would do is go ahead and I'm gonna give this this line one more candle, and if we have another close beneath that line, this would be the new support line that I'm using for the pair. But I will update you tomorrow on this development. Again, my name is Matt Russell, and please stay tuned for a preview of the DailyFX Forum. I want to go ahead and formally welcome everybody to the DailyFX Forum. And I want to explain a little bit about the forum and the wealth of information that you can obtain from the forum, and how to go about doing so, how to find the things you want. So I'm just going to dive right in right now, and this is DailyFX.com. This is usually how I navigate my way towards the forums. Obviously, it really depends on each individual how they access the forums, but this is how I go ahead and do it. I go DailyFX.com, go ahead and click on the forum on top, and this brings you to the DailyFX Forum homepage, and this highlights the most recent posts with the subject. So if you see anything that you're interested in, you can obviously go ahead and click. What I like to do is click on the forums tab like this, and go ahead and view the forums in the normal, typical way that forums are set up. And here you go. There are a bunch of threads down here, and I'm just going to go ahead and go directly to the forum, the video you just viewed, where you viewed it. So let's go ahead. This is the DailyFX Instructor Tips Forum, identifying trades with DailyFX. That's me. And go ahead and click on the most recent post. So this is where you are right now viewing the video, although the video will be the video beneath this one that you're watching right now. So Normally when I'm on the forums, and what I would do is just scroll up to the top. Certainly you can check out any of my previous videos, and especially if I did mention them in the report or in the video that you're viewing at that moment. And what I will do is go ahead and click on the forums, and then look for the forums that I like, that I have interest in. One of them would be the Euro Dollar forum, and this again, it's really up to each individual trader as to exactly how they want to use the forum. Personally, what I like to do, the first thing I do is I'll go to the Euro Dollar thread, I'll go and click on the latest post. And what I'll do here is, and again, I just want to really emphasize this point. It depends on your exact mindset when you're viewing. And me as a trader, I have some experience. So what I do and how I personally use the forum is I go through and I'll read what people are saying about the euro, what their trade ideas are. I certainly try to maintain my own individual objectivity, and I really don't pay much attention to what other traders are saying in terms of my trading. I'm not going to certainly see something on a forum and then go jump into a trade, but what it will do, it will open my eyes to certain trading opportunities, maybe a certain line or a certain time frame that I haven't looked at before. So that's one way that I personally like to utilize the DailyFX forum. But certainly for newer traders, there are plenty of topics that you can go over. Let's say you might not be well versed in terms of certain currency pairs that you want to learn about. Scalping, you might not know what Elliott wave is. You can go ahead and click there and see exactly what you can understand, what you might not understand, and then certainly feel free to ask questions about any of these topics that you have. Maybe the carry trade, maybe you have some questions about that, or the sentiment, the SSI, or the latest economic news, FX programmers, the webinars, MT4. Any questions about active trader, you can go ahead and click on those threads. So again, it's very free, very open, and there is a wealth of information here and just waiting for to be utilized. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thank you for listening.